Ryan Wingo, the number 5 overall prospect in the 2024 class, has committed to Texas. He is Steve Sarkisian's third five-star recruit in the 2024 class. Here with Horns 24/7 recruiting analyst Hank South. Hank, this was a battle down the wire between Texas and Missouri. Ryan Wingo ends up choosing the Longhorns. What today went into this decision for the Longhorns to beat out Mizzou?
Yeah, this was certainly a battle down to the wire. I felt pretty confident in projecting Missouri last week. I changed my crystal ball pick from Texas to Mizzou. A little bit prior to that, we were hearing there was still confidence on the Texas side. Talking to people close to Texas, they felt they checked all the boxes for Ryan Wingo in terms of what he was looking for in his future program, which was obviously NFL development. He was looking at the quarterbacks who was up on the roster, academics, all that was important. Of course, NIL is important for everybody nowadays, and Texas checked all those boxes. And so, that's what I felt good about putting my pick originally for Texas for Ryan Wingo. But then you looked at Mizzou, the season they were having with Luther Burden. They're obviously one of the top teams in the SEC, and it's his home state school, so you couldn't really fault him if that was ultimately the pick. But I think Texas, led by Chris Jackson, the wide receivers coach, Steve Sarkisian, even Tashard Choice, the running backs coach, was involved in this recruitment. I think they just stayed after him. They kind of just weathered through this Mizzou push, and we knew the Tigers were going to be the top competition all along. When he was originally planning to make a decision on December 20th. And so that wasn't a huge surprise. That was kind of the target you had to beat. And I think, Texas just stayed after him. Obviously, I think they really pitched the opportunity that he can come in and, be a guy that makes an impact year one with the production that this Longhorns offense is going to be losing. So I think that just tilted the scales in Texas's favor. I think they did a good job of communicating with him and staying in touch and making sure they know that he knows he was a priority, and they got it done. So massive win for this staff. And now, and I was saying it with, if he had picked Mizzou, you got to recruit to the finish. It's not a signature today. He still has an opportunity to, take visits or go elsewhere. And so, we'll see if he decides to take visits. But, I think he feels very strongly about Texas. And we saw that today with him moving up his commitment timeline and joining the class now.
Hank, you mentioned the production that's leaving the Longhorn offense next season. Just to list a couple of names: Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, Jatavian Sanders, and Jordan Whittington. That's Texas's top 4 receivers right now. So a big push for Steve Sarkisian to these receivers has been, hey, you're going to get early playing time if you come here. When you think of freshman wide receivers having a massive impact, obviously the first that comes to mind is Xavier Worthy and what he did in 2021 of the first year under Steve Sarkisian. Is Ryan Wingo a guy that can come into Austin immediately and have a Xavier Worthy-esque season from day one?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's what excites him about the opportunity at Texas. And you just mentioned all the guys leaving. Texas is going to field an entirely new set of skill players, and maybe who knows what happens with Quinn Ewers this offseason. It's going to be a totally new look offense in terms of skill guys in 2024, which happens to be the Texas's first go in the SEC. So there's going to be some challenges ahead. They have to play at Michigan next year too. So it's going to be kind of throw it into the fire right away. But I do think Ryan Wingo is that type of prospect that can come in and play immediately. It used to always be, no matter kind of what the level you were, you come in, you redshirt, you kind of wait your turn. But nowadays it's, you come in immediately, you play. And for some guys, if you don't come in immediately and play, you go to the transfer portal. But, not saying that's going to happen with Ryan Wingo or anything, but no, I do think he has the skill set. He's a big athlete, 6'2", 205. And, you look at his eval from our 24/7 sports guys, and, he's a wide receiver, playmaking ability, has great ball skills, can catch in traffic, and can even kind of motion into the backfield and maybe carry some out of the backfield, almost kind of like a Debo Samuel type playmaker. So certainly a guy that could see the field early. And if you get, getting him on board, you add him into the mix with Jonte Cook, DeAndre Moore, Ryan Niblett, the other guys they have waiting in the wings to kind of showcase what they can do. This could be a pretty stout playmaker group at the wide receiver position for Texas next year.
So Ryan Wingo's commitment pushes Texas into the top 15 nationally. We're slowly but surely approaching National Signing Day. Hank, What other moves are this Texas staff trying to make as we kind of approach that December date to try and catapult them to a third straight top 5 recruiting class?
Yeah, it's really getting interesting down the stretch. I think, there's only a couple of uncommitted guys that Texas is really pursuing still in terms of guys that haven't already made decisions. You look at Kobe Black, the five-star cornerback, who's been a massive priority target. I think you could argue that Kobe Black is the most coveted after Ryan Wingo announced. Kobe Black's probably the top target remaining on your recruiting board. So Texas certainly wants to get that done, get him in the class. He's still trending to the Longhorns. Texas A&M is trying to sway him. I think LSU's been mentioned about maybe getting him in on a visit, but Texas seems to be the team to beat for Kobe Black. That would be a massive addition. Would be the fourth five-star in this 2024 class for Texas. But beyond that, you look at that edge rusher position. I think that's something the staff still wants to close strong on. Solomon Williams, the four-star edge rusher from Florida. He just took a visit to Oregon, so Oregon's kind of in the mix now for him, along with A&M and Texas. Alabama's kind of lurking right there too. So in terms of uncommitted guys, those are the ones we're watching. And then, committed guys, they're making all sorts of, efforts with some of these kids. DeAndre Carter, the four-star interior offensive lineman that's committed to Auburn. He's a guy that Texas would love to flip, add him to this class to go with his teammate, Brandon Baker, the five-star offensive tackle out there from Mater Dei High School. Wardell Mack, the four-star cornerback that's committed to Florida. He's a big priority target. Corey and Gibson, we'll see, how heavy, he's saying all the right things in terms of his Clemson commitment. Does he end up deciding he wants to stay closer to home, play in Austin? Obviously, Clemson's season isn't really going very Clemson-esque for them this season. So, does that ultimately kind of weigh on him and make him change his mind? We'll see. Another guy, Dimitri Nicholas, the four-star defensive lineman. He's also committed to Auburn. There's, I think his name is Zach Foster. I don't know if I'm getting his name wrong. The Baylor edge rusher from Mississippi, the Baylor commit edge rusher. So, bunch of guys. But I think if you're looking at the very top of that list, I think Kobe Black and DeAndre Carter, after this Ryan Wingo commitment, are really the guys to watch.